And there's going to be one feature I do not plan on demoing. As I was telling John Liu a little bit earlier, I do not plan on demoing skills. And the reason I do not plan on demoing skills is there in Sydney, I've actually got one of the people who are played with it the longest or more than anybody else is skills integration. His name is Arafat. He's on the call, and he's actually going to come back and actually do a session for you dedicated to that topic. So he's been busy. Otherwise, we would have actually had him on this call today doing that demo. Otherwise, I think we're going to demo almost everything. So hopefully you guys can remind me that some of the things that we updated were channels, improve Power Automate integration, bot name icon interchangeable. Actually, we'll play with that in the next slide, and telemetry updates and enhancements. So let's go ahead and build a bot, get you started, maybe talk about entities a little bit. And then I've also got some people, actually, just so I remember, I do want to actually get Lisa and Linda on here because Barhead is actually they're local to Melbourne. Actually, Linda, are you in Melbourne or are you in Sydney?
I'm Sydney.
Okay.
We are Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Manila, Chuck. So yeah, I'm in Melbourne, but most of the rest of us aren't.
Okay. So we've got some resources, and they actually built this bot. So if you wanted to play with one that's actually been running in anger, we can actually take a look at it. I was actually going to reach out to them and look at their telemetry, and maybe they'll share it at a later date. But that's something else I'd like to do is actually show you their bot. But let's actually get started with building one, and then we'll see where it takes us. So, and Shiva wants to be from Manila. You know how hot it would be there right now? It'd be warm. Okay, if you haven't actually built a bot before, the way you get started is you go to aka.ms/trypva. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have Lisa or Linda, one of the two, put this link inside of their chat window. So if I can get one of you guys to do that for me, I would be in your debt. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. In this case, I don't think it's even going to prompt me. Now, this isn't the experience that you're going to see. The experience that you're going to see when you sign in is going to be this little guy. There it is. Thank you, Lisa. A little bit slow today. And right here, there it is. You are going to see this. This is going to be your first experience, the first time you actually go out and type in that. And all you have to do, this is the only thing you have to get right, is actually give it a name. So I'm going to actually call mine Linda. So if you are actually a Power Apps person or a Power Automate person, here are actually your environments. And this happens to be the MVP tenant that I'm running in. So we'll go ahead and create one called Linda, and we'll just ignore him because we've actually already done that. And then what we have by default when you first get started is 4 topics, right? These are the 4. And what they're doing is allowing you to go out and interact in, in a chatbot manner. So let's go ahead and start one. And I don't know, what should we do? Bruce, what is it? You actually ride bikes, don't you? What is your hobby? What does Bruce do when he's not doing power ups?
Before kids or after kids? Yeah, you can say ride bikes.
Yeah, I thought you were a bike. So you could go out and say, this is going to be about riding bikes. So maybe you're going to go out and help people pick a bike. So what would people type in for their trigger phrase? I don't know, bikes. And then you could go out and say, I don't know, what do you call it? They're push bikes, bicycles, there we go, etc. So if people, and you would want to do like complete sentences, but I'm actually kind of rushing through this. So if they type in this, what do you want them to see? What do you want them to do? And what we're going to do is go to the authoring canvas. And there we go. And the first thing that you're going to probably want to do is say, sure, I can help you with that. Right? We're going to go out and be fairly positive about this. And you might want to go out and ask, what kind of bike? So Bruce is a road bike person, but you probably go out and say, what kind of, let's actually get my mouse over, bike are you thinking of buying? Okay, and this way we can actually go out and give them that information. And what are the kind of bikes? I don't know, dirt and mountain and road and we had a guy named David Limpers on our team, Coatsy, and he rode those crazy bikes without a seat. Trial bike. And he spent like $1,000 and he didn't even get a seat for it.
And I remember him riding around inside a house we rented in Wagga Wagga for Code Camp, jumping up on the couch and stuff. Weird.
We never did get our deposit back, but I think that was.
But it was so worth it.
That was Glover's problem at that point. Okay, so let's say that they wanted to go out and do a dirt bike, and you'd go to, I don't know, dirt.com. And you know what the problem is with making up crazy URLs like this? They probably exist, and they're probably going to be not where I want them to go at all. It's probably going to go horribly.
Dirt.com is risky, I would have thought.
Yeah. All right. But I'm with the Australian crowd. If there's ever going to be a case I'm not going to get fired about it, we're going to do that. So what we're going to do is we could go out and add additional conditions and say this one's going to go out and take you and show a message. And this is going to go to, I don't know, http://bing.com. That one's going to be pretty easy, etc. And these messages could go out and do other things, right? They could go out and say, hey, are you looking for a red one or a blue one or a 12 speed or 10 speed? And you could actually go out and have other conversations and give them links to other places and actually have conversations. Okay, so dirt.com is for science. Oh, that's good to know. So Andrew is a bit of a geologist, map cartographer. So that would probably be someplace he'd be interested in doing. Oh, and so is Allison and Christian. So that's their background. So let's run this. So we need to make sure and type in mountain or dirt as our first one. So we're going to save that. Actually, we don't even need to save it. We can actually just go ahead and run it. And let's go out and say that we are interested in our bike. Okay. And the only reason we're doing this is just to get you a level set is what these are and how easy they are. And you can see what it did is it went out and said, hey, I can help you with that. And at this point, it's going out and it's giving me an option for every one of these bicycles. Now, for bicycles, there is a fairly finite list. What happens if I actually had I don't know, I think you saw that I was playing with doggy breeds. You're not going to go out and list all the doggy breeds, probably. You might want to go out and quantify that big, little, medium, indoor, outdoor, fluffy, edible, whatever, different options. And one of the ones that we actually have a response to is mountain. So if you go out and do this. Now, I typically, and I think you're going to find in most cases that people have been writing bots, and Linda actually can attest to this, and Lisa, that you probably won't be going out and asking questions like this. That's not how you would interact with it. You will actually probably go out and use something called entities. And entities are where you go out and define those lists and then use the list instead of that finite or the static option. So let's go out and see. If I click on doggies, I typed this in just a little while ago. I have labs, and under labs, I could go out and have black and add and maybe golden, etc. And you can go out and say lazy. I don't know what other kind of acronyms you have for dogs. And I missed in the coatsies. What is it? Double dapple doodle. Doggy do you have again, Andrew?
Labradoodle, but that'll do.
Yeah, double dapple doodle.
Like a golden doodle, but with Labrador.
Yeah. And we could add that one. Okay. Now, the nice thing about this is I actually can go out and expand this list anytime. It's not really, and I can use it all over the place. So if we save that and then go back into our topics, let's say close topics. And I could go out and start a new topic, and I can go out and say doggy. I think I already have doggies. And then ask it about, I don't know, let's say we're going to go out and ask about cats, even though we're going to ask about dogs. And then we're going to go to the authoring process. And now, instead of me typing it in, I can actually go ahead and reference that. So if I go out and say, ask a question, and the question itself, instead of multiple choice, it gives me a list of all these entities. Yeah. And what I should see is one called doggies in here, or whatever it was that I called. You see it in there? I don't, but it should be there. Dogs. Okay. What type of dog? And then what this gives you the option to do is to go out and have only those buttons that you think are going to be the quintessential of dogs that you're going to go out and choose. So this would actually be those dogs. And even though I didn't select them all, if they type them in initially it does what's called slot filling. And I actually can go ahead and use the fact that even though I didn't have Dachshund or Boxer as an option, they could have go out and said, I'm interested in buying a Boxer. And the variable is going to be Boxer. And then you can actually go out and say, hey, I see that you're interested in Boxers. And that's called an entity. So that's actually, again, getting started with a chatbot. Lisa, how'd I do?
So far, so good, Chuck.
Okay. All right, so we started this journey because I promised you new features, and these are not new features. These are old features. Some of the new features that we want to get to is when I go out and you go to manage and say channels, there have actually been a whole bunch of new channels that have been added since then. I think actually these last 2 rows have been added additions. Teams, I'm going to let you know right now, is actually going to get entirely changed. So Heidi, as much fun as we had getting our Sweet As bot into our Teams channels, it actually is going to be a one-click affair that actually uses the store itself, and it's actually going to reference, enumerate all the bots that you've got. So that's actually going to be something that's actually going to be, yeah. The one that I use regularly, it was when I demo, I like this one. So let's copy that and paste that in there. And they've actually done a nice job of styling this, but they're actually still using kind of that iframe metaphor. If I wanted to do better than that, where's my bot? Here we go. I can go out and grab a custom website and actually go out and then style it myself. Now, this one's not going to be styled. It's actually still using the iframe. And now what we have added just recently is the ability to go out and let's actually talk about, in addition to extra channels, something that we just added was the ability, where's Visual Studio, to go out and do custom canvases. I know that with Power Platform, we usually talk about no code. So this is kind of a high code experience, but I can actually change the experience quite a bit in what it looks like and how I interact with it. And the one that my favorite is, I can actually start the conversation. So I could go out and have my bot running inside of, like in this case, the Barhead website. Where's my browser? I'm in the wrong browser. Here it is, the Barhead, this one. And as soon as this page comes up, they could go out and say, hey, I see that you're asking about COVID, and they could actually go out and have a preemptive or a prompting of you. So, okay, so where was I at? I was actually going to show you what this canvas did. So in this case, it goes out and says, what is an MRN number? That's actually a medical something number that has to do with, I don't know, medicine, I guess. But if I run this, let's actually go ahead and demo this. View in browser. You'll see that, oh, this is not the one I thought I was going to run, but you'll see that it actually goes ahead and starts with, hey, here is the medical relief number. In this case, since I knew Christian and Alice were going to be on the call, we had to actually have some Power BI reports in here. So I actually could go out and answer questions about a Power BI report. A good friend, a mutual friend of ours, Stephanie Bruno and Lindsay, what's Lindsay's last name, goes out and uses this all the time because there's a lot of jargon in the ecology area, like Alice is from, or the medical arena. So if you had questions like MRN number, diagnosis, or treatments or whatever, you could go out and say, hey, a treatment is, and define those. Now, what I've done here is I actually have done something that the team doesn't plan on shipping anytime soon. And like I told John, I'm cheating quite a bit. What I've done is I've actually put a bot inside of a Canvas app. And last time I showed Lisa this, it didn't work. So hopefully we can get it to work today. And
I've got high expectations now.
it is going to run. Oh, you know why it's not running, I think, in this case, is because the Canvas app needs to have the identity, and there's actually a prompt for it. So it's actually run it from a browser who's logged in. So again, while by default, bots are run anonymous. I'm going to say that twice more. By default, Power Virtual Agent chatbots run anonymous, but Power Apps do not. So if I go out and show you this, oh, actually, there's it running. It's kind of cheating if it's already going, right? So let's actually refresh it, and I'll show you it loading. And I could have gotten the other one loaded too, but I would have actually had to put in my identity. It would just take a little bit longer, but hang on. So here it is. Coming. Good. And then I could go ahead and ask, what is a MRN number, and we should actually see that same sort of response because it's the same bot. In a couple places, actually, I stole Linda's work and I put it in my demos. Did I get the acronym wrong? Anyways, it is a bot. I don't know which bot and which one it knows, but this actually will give me, so this actually will tell me what this bot does. And this is inside of a Power App, or sorry, a Power BI report. In this case, this is actually a Power App. This is a Canvas app, and this is actually what I'm doing underneath the covers to get that working. And if I actually go ahead and look on my little bot agent, you can see that I've actually got him loaded up here. And again, this is actually using an iframe, using a PCF control. Right now, you're going to have to use a friend of ours named Yash, who's done this work. But next month, we're releasing a first-class citizen for Power Apps to load bots into Canvas apps. So that's actually slated for next month. So here's our bot running in a Canvas app. So lots and lots of formal channels. And as Chuck showed you, there's lots of places that you can slam this thing into if you have just a little bit of super glue and some duct tape. Yeah, Yash's work is crazy good. A lot of people think that there's 4 or 5. So Heidi's asking about licensing. So the licensing itself is actually under review, and I think there's actually might be an announcement next week. So, but if you go to that link that Lisa typed in, ak.ms/try-PVA, you'll see that the entry point is $1,000. Here it is, and you get 2,000 runs. And I think what they're looking to do is actually do some subset that's smaller than that, so you don't have to go out and say I'm going to buy it up front. So what is those numbers? I don't know. I actually don't work with the business team that much. Or as Coates, you probably realizes what I just said. The marketing team doesn't work with me that much. Is really what it works out to be. But the end result is exactly the same. And I know that they are reviewing this, and there's probably going to be some announcements at Build. Okay, so what other new features? Does anybody remember my slides? What other new features I had listed there? Oh, I know. The next one's probably analytics. So when we first launched it, we actually had summary customer satisfaction and sessions, but we did not have billing. So if I go out and take a look at, I don't know, this day, I can go out and take a look at what was the engagement rate for this particular day. You can see that this bot doesn't get a ton of traffic. What was the abandonment rate? It looks like on that day, everybody abandoned everything, etc. What were actually the topics that people use this day? And you can see that I have a topic called secret. And obviously I was doing some dev work, and all of my effort was around getting that secret topic working. Now what we've added that was enhanced is going ahead and actually showing you your billable rates. A billable rate isn't anything that I do in here. So if I actually go out and type in hello or whatever this bot does and ask about dogs and cats and stuff, that is actually not a billable rate. Additionally, if I actually go out and load the Barhead page and I don't type anything there, that's not a billable one. Even if they actually go out and do a proactive response, like we showed here, where it actually goes out and gives you the first, if I don't interact with it, that's not a billable. So there's actually levels of engagement. Are all 20K will be building? Don't know what that question is. Maybe someone actually can help Elena with that question. So that's actually what we added. And then the sessions are kind of cool. I should have Power BI. What you can do is you can actually download all of the, let's actually add the chat transcript. I can add every interaction that these people have gone through, what pathways they've done, and actually whether or not they've abandoned and engaged. And in this case, you can see that 1.3 thousand of my sessions were not billable because the people actually did not interact with that bot in this case, but 151 of them were. Now, this bot that I'm looking at, it was actually one that is the Microsoft COVID bot. So we actually wrote one ourselves. You can actually see that they've actually done a nice job with the that custom canvas. They've actually done a beautiful job with it. So it's Power Virtual Agents probably. Power Virtual Sure. There it is. Okay. And a friend of mine, Michael, has actually did this. There it is. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. And this one's actually really nice. He's actually done a nice job of the icons. He's renamed it. He's actually gone it. And this is actually all code that you can actually give it in that HTML. So renaming, custom canvases, and this is actually see where he's gone out and actually started the conversation. So they've actually gone out and changed it since then. This is actually not what we released with. Okay, so what else was next? Well, actually, I'm gonna have to remind myself by going back to the slides. Bot name and icon changeable. So that is actually done by the exact same way in that high code way of writing that HTML. Improved Power Automate integration. Let's take a look at that. So if I go back into these topics and I don't know, let's just start a new topic, easiest. This is the Linda one because I'm going to remember to call on you. And this is the, I don't know what Linda does. She likes Sydney, so we'll actually say that she's the Sydney trigger. And what I can do is I can go ahead and actually call an action. And the action gives me a couple different options. The number one request for our ideas site and the dev team was to be able to have this trigger or this bot, that conversation, call another one. So actually I can go ahead and do that in my call to action. It should be here somewhere. Call an action, and maybe I don't see them. But anyway, oh, I could go to another topic. Here it is. Sorry, there it is. And I can go to my doggies topic and my bikes topic. Apparently I have two doggies, and my fishing and my secret one that we were talking about. Now, the call and action one is create a flow. And that's going to take me to flow. And what this is going to do is it's going to automatically put me into a solution. And it's going to automatically set up a trigger that's no longer an HTTP trigger. Back when I was playing with this with Heidi and John Liu, it actually had to have an HTTP trigger, and it automatically does the return values. So this is pretty cool. If I go out and take a look at my solutions, you can do really, really interesting things that, like listing the topics that are in a database. So if you want to have all your dogs, you can go out and query a doggy one. I think, do I see this? Here's a John Liu flow. That's not the one I'm looking for. Let's actually go to my one other environment, and if I don't find it there, we'll actually move forward. Premium, here it is, premium demo tenant. Standby. Solutions, dismiss. It's not this. I've lost it. I've lost my solution that has this these bots in it. I apologize for that. Anyways, all I was going to show you is that we could call database, and it uses an OData syntax, and that's actually not new. So we could probably move on. It's not terribly important. Telemetry updates. Okay, I think I'm actually done with this particular slide. How are we doing on questions? Has you guys been monitoring that, Bruce?
Yep.
And have I missed a whole bunch?
There have been a few. Most there's been a back and forth, I guess, around some billing and capacity usage. But the most recent one from Heidi says, "Can you go across environments?"
Yeah, great question. So as I mentioned, this bot. Actually, let's answer that question with another demo that you guys are now going to do. If I go out and go into my channels, and I grab this custom website, and I copy this, and I paste that in there. Actually, I want the demo website. I apologize. Ignore that for a second. You can have that iframe too, but that's not the one you want. Okay, let's paste that in there. So none of you guys are in this environment. None of you guys are in this tenant. If I could get one of you, Bruce, since you're unmuted, that'd be good, to click on that last link that I just sent you. Yep. You could use the first link, but you'd have to drop it into a notepad file and end it with a .html. This is just easier. And you could actually tell everybody, hey, that bot's working just fine for me.
It sure is.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. And clearly, if we go back and take a look at the coronavirus, I'm not in Lisa and Linda's, I'm not in their environment. So the default is anonymous access, which actually gets me back into that. Remember I said I was looking at the secret topic? Let's actually take a look at that secret topic because it actually gets back to what Heidi was asking about. So if I go to secret, and it's not very complicated. I think I actually only ask one question, or I have one condition in it is what I'm doing. And what I've done is I've gone out and I've done an action called Authenticate. And that's actually a default action. So you can actually go out and hit this and go out and call an action called Authenticate. And then what that does is it gives me a condition of is logged in and is not logged in. And if you're logged in, I just have it saying you're now logged in. And if they're not, it goes out and gives me a series of different questions. So
I think, Chuck, just to add to that, the context was probably within the Power platform. So could you have a bot that calls a flow that's connected to another environment within your same tenant, I guess?
Got it. Great question. And the answer is no, because what's going to happen there is in the coming weeks, not even a month out, bots are going to be solution aware, and they're going to want you to, they're going to need to be co-located in the same solution as that flow. And that's very intentional. Yeah, so Ellen, it is going to be solutions aware. And the reason we've done that is if you want to actually, if I want to give this bot to Coetzee, he's going to need those flows to go with it. Let's say I had 5 or 6 flows. Most of my bots actually end up having a bunch of flows that I call. He's going to need all of them for the bot to actually be useful. So having them packaged up in a single solution makes it portable where he could go out and then put it into his environment inside of his tenant. So does that make sense, Bruce?
That makes sense, but I guess, I'm assuming you could change that. So if you got connectors within your flow that say go to Twilio or go to this particular Google Drive environment, each of those connections could be set to your specific, or the ones they can be changed, I guess.
Yeah, and we're also offering export as well. So just like Flow has an export where you can export just the flow, we're going to have the option to go out and just export the bot. So let's go ahead and run this one. Actually, you can do this now too, Bruce, or anybody that's actually clicked on that last link. If you go out and type in secret as the trigger, it goes out and asks me, hey, this is secret stuff, or it tells me this is secret stuff to continue log in. And none of you actually have an account inside of this tenant. Now, in this case, it already has that identity cached in this browser, but let's go ahead and grab that URL, and none of you will log in. So you're always going to get the error condition side of that. But if I go out and go into a in private window here, Bruce is nodding yes, I actually just saw them. And then I go out and type in secret, it will prompt me. And I log in. Oh, still, it must have a cookie in here, so I apologize. I'm gonna have to run this from a Chrome instance. Let's try that one real quick.
Add a profile, another profile.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, you guys can actually all see what it looks like because you're not getting an ID or a token. You actually are getting prompted, and none of you are going to succeed because you don't have credentials. Actually, John Liu would have credentials and Lisa, everybody else. So Heidi's actually putting oh, so what they're doing, what Heidi showed is actually when I set this up. So if I go to portal.azure.com, and this is the dialog that she's actually showing, I went out and registered this application that we're using. And I'll show you where I set this up in a second. And I did application registrations. There it is. And you'll see that I went out and said it is requiring a couple sets of permissions. OpenID is one of them, etc. And I can go out and the dialogue that Heidi is showing us is going out and saying you have to agree to those requests. So who was it that says I'm in? Anyways, I'm assuming it's one of my MVPs because I'm using the MVP tenant. I'm hoping that
no, that's me.
That's Heidi.
So I give Heidi an account on this. All right, fair enough. Okay, so the way you set this up is actually under authentication. I'm hoping that we get this a little bit easier. This dialog box is fairly daunting. The only and really important parts, all the rest should be kind of at least defaulted, is the client ID. I got that right here, client ID, and then actually your certificates and secrets, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a new secret. So we'll call it Chucks4, because once you look at it, you don't get to see it again. I'm going to add it. I'm going to copy that. And we're recording this, so everybody now in the world has my AAD secret. So you have access to all of my super cool stuff. I could go ahead and put in this new secret, because this is that same application. And now when I save this, I want to find my save over here. It's now there. All the rest of this stuff is actually pretty static. I found that our documentation is okay, but our documentation shows this as being it shows it as being in single quotes. And it took me a little while to actually find Thomas's blog post that shows that no, there's no quotes around that. And again, if I could have looked on the wire as to what was happening, I could have seen that a little bit faster. But if you're thinking about setting up authentication, grab a screenshot of me showing this, or at least go back and look at the recording of this, or look at Thomas's blog post. All the rest of them you have to fill out, but they're actually all in the docs and they're static. These are the only two that are really important. Okay, where are we at in my slides? We are now at this one. Topic redirection, I already showed you that. So we can now chain my topic about doggies into topics about fishing or bicycles or whatever the case is. Suggested topics, that was actually pretty cool. And we're actually making changes there. So if I go back into my bot and go to topics, yes, I do want to save it, I guess. Suggest topics, and it's kind of cool. I can actually scrape almost any website. What it's doing is it's looking for a Q&A sort of back and forth. So why don't we do, we'll use Barhead. So I want to go ahead and get HTTPS://
Yeah, I reckon you can find a better example than that. I don't think we have any Q&A on that site.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. So actually, Bruce, what's the name of your company? Let's get your company name in here too.
365 Mechanics.
365 Mechanics.
I'm giving you another good one in the link if you want to go with the doggies theme. Our local RSPCA here has a good FAQ site.
Okay. And I can't even get a quote in there. There we go. Mechanics with an X.
Yes.
Bruce? Okay.
Yep.
.com. Okay. And then I'm going to add Lisa's in here. And beautiful. Okay. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to go out and troll those websites and give me a list of topics that it recommends that I could add. And this will take a couple of minutes, but it's kind of cool that all those topics, a lot of the typing that I've done is actually going to be done for me. Now, this is going to give it like Q&A Maker. If you play with Q&A Maker, only a single turn. What does that mean? Is that it's going to go out and give me, let's actually look at that website that Lisa just gave us a second ago. So what that's going to do is it's going to go out and say, hey, here's your topic, and here's the message for it. That's called a single turn. It's not going to ask me questions. It's not going to go out and do qualifying, etc. And it's going to go out and give me all these suggestions. But it's a great place to start. And right now, the only source that we've got is HTML, but we are actually adding, oh God, I know that there's an NDA conversation with you, Lisa, but we are actually adding, it wasn't Excel. I want to say it was SharePoint is the next one. We're actually adding.
You know what, Chuck? It's an NDA conversation, except that at MBAS last week, someone asked it in the chat and it got answered in the chat in what was a very public forum. So.
Okay, perfect. But we're adding resources all the time. And I know that either SharePoint or Excel is actually one of the next ones that we're adding, and the devs are already working on those features. So let's go back out and see if we can take a look at it. And it's still working. And what will happen is it's going to go out and give me a list of topics I could potentially add. And actually, here's a bunch. So I must have done this before. So I've actually gone out. Yeah. So I've actually done this for CSG Pro. Alice was talking about her actually doing a presentation for these guys in Portland. And I could go out and say, I want to add this one. So I can go out and add that now as a topic. And we're probably actually bringing in some of these other ones in real time. So you can actually see what the suggested topics are, how it could actually save me some time. And hey, oh, here's all the RSVP are the doggy ones from the RSPCA site that we've got. And I don't know if the mechanics or Barhead's coming in. Oh, Barhead did come in. So here's the 50 rising stars and go out and tell you all about it. Here's the 50 CRN reports, etc. Okay. So, so it looks like a couple of people have saved it. There you go. So Matthew and Lisa both captured what we're working on next. Oh, CDS would be the best one. The reason CDS is the best one is because I can actually get anything into it using Power Query. So that would be the one that I would want next anyway. So if you can get it into CDS, I'll use Power Query to scrape SharePoint or Excel or whatever. Okay. What are we at now? Skills integration. As I mentioned, Arafat, can you unmute and say hello to everybody? Or have you given up? Okay, no microphone. He's going to come back and actually do a skills integration. He's actually done a couple sessions on it. He actually he ran back when people could meet. I don't know if you guys remember way back then. He actually ran the AI boot camp and the Azure boot camp there in Sydney. So we're going to get him to come back. Okay, so I'm done with most of my demos. I don't know how we're doing on time, but actually I want to hand over the microphone to Lisa and Linda and see if I can actually find their site. Okay. Linda and Lisa, are you guys? Oh, I know Lisa's off mute because I just heard her. Linda, are you off of mute?
That's right. I'm going to let Linda do the talking here. This is her work.
Yeah. Team effort. Yeah.
How long did this take you to do? And what did you learn? And what were some things that you should tell people that I forgot that I may have not covered?
I think we built it in about a week, I'd say. That includes learning and trying to pull together all the content. Yeah, it was a fair bit of effort actually to work it all out. Yeah, the key things that we learnt is your topic design. It's pretty key. Because I mean, it's like as Chuck was showing, like the technology side, you can build stuff pretty easy and it's pretty easy to work out, but you can get yourself into a bit of a tangle, I think, when you're trying to work out how your topics are going to work and operate. Yeah.
So and you've had this conversation as well. We've just done a client, like without naming the client, Linda, but we've just done a client engagement where this idea of starting with FAQ versus how topics are done. Do you want to just sort of talk through that?
Okay.
That learning as well.
Yes. So yeah, we kicked off a project with a client, and they thought they'd done a lot of work in preparing their 200 plus frequently asked questions from the service center, which was helpful as a start. But I guess translating that into a bot is a little bit different because I mean, like as you can see there, like it needs to be conversational. Yeah, your flat question and answer doesn't quite work as well when you're kind of thinking, well, a person could ask a question in like 50 different ways and you kind of need to tailor the response to flow in a way that makes sense. Yeah, so we found that's I think one of the big learnings there about how to implement. The other thing I wanted to say as well, a little gotcha as well, is don't embed a user topic within your system greeting as well, because that trips off the billing as well, we found.
One of the other questions is, have you created any bots where you trying to list lots and lots of things in the screen? Have you figured out techniques or strategies for that? Like the trending one that I was looking at here, if I go out and say, I want to say list of training, this training catalog for Power Apps is now over 100 different items. And you'll see what I've done is actually I've gone through anything that I can't fit on a single page, I qualify. And then I also ask, so this should fit in a page. I don't think it does anymore. I think we've actually added enough to the database. There's a database query underneath the coverage, by the way. And I try to limit it to one page. Come on. There we go. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah. And then what I also do when I get into situations like this, because that's why I did all these qualifying questions. And every time I actually try to do the quintessential, and the way I figured out the quintessential, by the way, was going back to this telemetry. So if I were to go out and see that most of the people were going through, this particular topic, and this is a bad example because we just don't have enough topics and enough telemetry, then I would go through and actually list those as an answer for almost all my questions, because I know that's where people end up eventually. So where else am I at? I was actually running a bot in Power Station. Here it is. And then what I also do that I found is actually a nice example is ask them if they would like me to email the information I've given them to them. So in this case, for the coronavirus, I might go out and say, did that answer your question? I might go out and say, would you like us to email that to us? And your answer, yes, no, or yes, it does answer it, but no, I don't want the email. And that's done through a flow. It's the way you send emails from bots. So what else? What else did you guys learn about doing this? This is kind of cool. I demo this all the time.
You might be checking out telemetry, Chuck.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
I probably am. I probably owe you money at some point. Maybe we can get you whitelisted.
It's running on a demo system, so
okay.
Well, we might be testing the limits. Go on, Linda.
I was just going to say, key learning, test. So yeah, you get your group of pilot users together and get them to try and break it. So you know what I mean? You want to know what are people asking and how they're asking it. So, I mean, you can try and do it by yourself with your small group of developers or whoever you've got, but try and think like an end user. Because I guess
that's Linda, we had everyone throwing everything at it, didn't we? For
yeah,
when you were building it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had all of Barhead testing it. Because that's how they judge it, really, as to how good your bot is. Can it answer my question?
Yeah.
And this is actually a
Linda,
good example. Oh, go ahead.
It's just Bruce here. I was going to ask around, is it more at what the outcomes are needed for the particular customer or, who'll be interacting with it, rather than the particular, let's say, industries? So if, for example, would these be fit for purpose? Even Chuck can speak to this. If I was a banking customer and I wanted to use the bot to check my account balances, I mean, you could build that, but the question is, should you? Can it? Is it a good use case or?
Yeah. I guess we're talking twofold. So I guess we worked with our internal team to come up with the topics. So we kind of went out to go, right, we're going to build this bot. We're thinking it's going to do this, but what do you really want to ask it? So we went out and surveyed them and that. So that started to, I guess, build the shape of the topics. And then on top of that, it's the trigger phrases. So it's kind of checking, how are people actually going to trigger these topics? And making sure that we've got all the right words and language together.
And getting back to Bruce's point as well, since you actually can go out and force them to authenticate, you'll know that there's somebody that have access to your system. And even if you decided to not go that route, I could go out and actually use a flow to go out and call a database and go out and have part of that database going out and saying, hey, part of this was their user ID and their password, and do a select statement based with those as your where clauses and only pull back those values. Now they could go back and do basically a SQL injection attack and figure out what else is in there. But again, you would actually be able to see that and through the telemetry as well. So could I do that? Yes. Are there cases where it makes sense? Yes. Do you need to be safe and diligent? Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great example. Remember I was talking about entities? You can see that when we first ran this, I didn't notice this light blue bar to look at these different options. And this might be a case where you have an entity that only shows 3, because this is kind of, this is our fault. This UI is kind of strange. We're working on this as well, giving a button that you don't have to know to scroll over for. So anyways, that's a Microsoft problem rather than a Barhead problem. Entities will let you get around it, kind of.
Another question here from Heidi was around versioning. Can you do versioning or?
So what we do is I can go out and continue working on it. And Linda's probably working on a version right now that we're not seeing, but she hasn't hit this publish button. So a lot like Power Apps has, a what am I working on versus what is in production. We can do that as well. We actually don't give you this is now version 5 or whatever it is. This is probably, and you can see that actually now I'm trying to validate it. And I think what I've done is I actually brought in a topic that didn't have a message. So I actually have a trigger phase that doesn't have a message, and that's not allowed. So it has a single turn version. And once we have solutions, obviously, then I can actually version it at that point using all of our ALM goodness. So kind of yes now, a little bit, getting much better when we're solution aware. All right. So how are we doing on other questions? Otherwise, I will walk through what's coming next. Actually, this one's not coming next. This one's actually already live. Let's take a look at what Chuck does as part of his J job. So ak.ms/PVA community. That's what I get paid to run at Microsoft. That one in the Power Apps community. And this one actually just launched, I don't know, last Tuesday, I think it was. This Tuesday? This Tuesday. It was just a couple of days ago.
I think you're losing time. It was like the end of April.
Anyways, so it didn't launch that long ago. And inside of here, if you want to know anything about Power Virtual Agents, including the Barhead bot, just like we pointed out earlier, there is a webinars and video gallery. There's actually already 30 videos in here, and one of them is the Ronavirus, the Ronabot. Where are you, Lisa? Why am I not seeing you? You are here. I know you're here.
Yeah, I'm sure we were there. Oh, there it is. Now go back up. It's the
It's
the one that's
near the
not
top.
color.
The second
Yeah,
from the
there
top.
we go.
Yeah.
Next to Dynamics 365 Talk. Second row, third from the left. Yeah.
Got it. So this is actually information about it. This is where you can actually go out and take a look at it. Now, what we're going to do is when we have export for bots, in addition to looking at these are videos, you'll actually be able to download other people's efforts. And that's actually going to be in the gallery of, why? I think it's this font that's just dropped. It's either the color or the font. I need to do plus. There we go. Okay. Let's go out and take a look at, here we go, it's bot sharing gallery. So when we have export, you'll be able to actually go out and download other people's efforts. Now the feature doesn't exist yet. So Renato actually has uploaded a video here, and I actually have gone out and uploaded a placeholder, and we weren't supposed to actually make this visible, going out and saying that this is coming soon. And we're actually going to have bots available for you to take a look at. So that's actually a feature coming in the next couple of weeks. And the community is live now for you to look at. And I should probably go ahead and give you actually, I'll give you a link to this one because this is actually the best one. And I think actually all the questions in the general forum have actually all been answered. At least I was looking at the ones today. So if you have questions about it, this is the place to go. Okay, back to the slides. What else do we have coming? Multi-language. We've got people already working on Spanish. And we're actually releasing the 6 canonical languages again in the next couple of weeks. That's actually not too far out. As I've already mentioned, when we become solution aware, that also gives us multi-authoring. So that trending bot drives me crazy. I actually created it underneath of a trending account. So I have to actually have other browser instances just to go out and do my editing. So I am looking forward to having multi-authoring scenarios. It's not that far away. Global variables, what is that? When I actually went out and ran that bot from this Canvas app, I would want to go out and signal that this is interested in taking a look at trending around maybe RPA and having it automatically bring up the automate. Or if I were to taking a look at this browser instance, where's my Visual Studio instance, and take a look at what did I hit? Okay. I could go out and signal that I wanted to take a look at this particular topic based on the fact that I know that I'm looking at this Power BI report. So that's actually what global variables are mean, and then they're coming as well, and export across tenants, and I've already mentioned that one as far as enabling the community. So got a link, Arafat. So there's a question, great session by product team of build about PVA not to be missed. Oh, actually, let me show you that, because one of the most popular areas in the brand new communities, okay, I've lost communities, aka.ms/try PVA, because I'm actually going to answer that. ms/PVA community, there we go. There's a gallery called MBAS 2020. And right here, I can go out and filter this on Power Virtual Agents. And these are the sessions that my team delivered. What's interesting is about these is actually we're continuing to upload them, even though the event is gone and dusted. It was on the 6th. We're actually still loading new content that people are still recording for this event. Hopefully we'll be announcing or telling people about it, but you'll actually see content that was delivered yesterday being uploaded today. So Lisa, do you mean MBAS or build next week, Arafat? So build, we're going to have, I think it's 4 sessions for PVA. We're going to have a couple other announcements there as well.
Awesome. I better make sure I'm on it then.
Shiva, I got to go. Oh, Shiva, it was a pleasure seeing you and nice having you on the call. If everybody doesn't know Shiva, she actually works for Microsoft Australia. She runs the MVP program. She's actually my partner in crime for MVPs.
Thanks, Chuck. Hope to see you again in many more of these.
I hope so. I'd like to see you in person. It'd be nice when we go out and share some more red.
That too. All right, gotta go. Bye. Thanks for this. Bye.
Bye, Shiva. Okay, Bruce. I think I'm 1 minute over my allotted time, so I'm going to hand the microphone back to you, see if there's any more questions, and I'm going to let you close.
Thanks, Chuck. I think we'll hang on around here and see if there's any kind of questions on the chat. But it was really good and exciting to see the changes and how it's kind of rapidly progressing. So can I kind of dip in and out of the PVAs, and each time we come back in, it looks like there's a breadth of changes that are kind of accelerating. So certainly I know, especially since COVID, it's got a lot of attention and traction. So I think they'll be here to stay for a long, long time. So thank you very much. Any new messages?
You know what we should do, John, Lou, and Bruce, is give you access to a YouTube channel, all the user group leaders, and have not you move your videos from your current YouTube channel, but syndicate it on a single channel. So keep putting on whatever channels you're doing it. But when you're in YouTube, let's see if I can actually bring up YouTube. And can you actually give me the link for your guys' user group?
On Meetup?
No, the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel that John's going to post it to.
That would just be on his personal one.
Yeah, we don't have a user group video channel, YouTube channel. I was just gonna post it to my.
Okay, well, give me a link to your personal channel.
You can add that video to your playlist, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to show you, is going out and saying, is continue uploading it to yours. Let's just say that I click on this car one. And what I can do is I can hit this plus sign, and I can actually add it to a user group playlist. And that way, all user groups across the planet can be found in a central, in one place, regardless of what YouTube channel got put in. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Yeah, I need to start a thread on that and actually see if we can actually get that, make it easier for, people like Lisa's and Linda's to go out and say, oh, I'm curious what other user groups are out there. Because I know that Reza Rad, he did 4 user groups today. I have no idea which 4 user groups those were. So if I want to go ahead and add his Flow Jam session, I could go ahead and hit this one, and I could go out and say, I'm going to add it to the, well, actually, this is probably Power Automate. Okay.
Chuck.
Yeah.
You need a Power Automate playlist now.
I do. And but John's an admin to this, so why the heck has John Levesque not added his own playlist? Anyways, you go yell at John Levesque, not me.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, that's something I should probably bring up as a conversation for the user group leaders.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Charles. How do we give a round of applause? Like, there's a hand button. I'm just gonna.
You've got to come off mute and clap. Is how we do it.
And I'll share the recording to YouTube and link that everywhere. Do you want to promote anything, Charles? Last minute. Is there anything you want to promote? Go to the community site. Go to PVA communities. Okay.
Yeah, we'll post a few more of those links in the meetup site too. So all those community ones and the try PVA and the links to the videos. But cool.
Okay. All right. Be safe, everyone. Oh, what's this?
Thank you very much, John. Thank you, Australia.
Thanks,
I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Chuck.
Dialing
Thanks,
in.
John. Thanks, Bruce.
Bye, Coatsy. Hopefully I get to see you soon.
One day we'll go
Bye,
fishing together,
Alice.
maybe.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Roshana, it was a pleasure meeting you virtually. Bye, guys. I'm going to go have some dinner.
All right. Bye, Chuck.
Okay.
Thanks, Charles.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thanks, John and Bruce. Thanks for hosting
Yes,
us.
Lisa.
Yes. Bye-bye.